Okay guys, welcome back. So I had a bit of a rocky start in the beginning, so I'm just going to go ahead and pick up just basically from the first page of the communication PowerPoint. So these are the 5 key communication skills that form the foundation for effective communication. They are active listening, paraphrasing, reflective listening, affirming, and opened and closed-ended questions. Active listening. Active listening is listening carefully to what the speaker is saying without judgment or evaluation, listening to both the content of the message as well as the feelings that are being expressed, and attempting to stand in the other's shoes, to understand and relate to another's situations and feelings. Sorry, I had an itch in my eye. I'm having some allergy problems right now, but I don't think it should get in the way of this presentation. So how do you practice active listening? Be attentive, maintain eye contact if appropriate, take time to listen to the full story without interrupting, allow for silence. Silence allows time to think, and ask for clarification or repetition of statements to understand. Listen without judgment, and set your reactions aside to focus on the feelings. Now, let's talk about reflective listening. Reflective listening is reflecting the other person's feelings back to them. The feelings may or may not have been verbalized. The purpose of reflective listening is to make sure that you have understood what the other person is feeling. Even though they may not have expressed the feelings, the skill also lets people know that they have been heard. The difference between paraphrasing and reflective listening is that in paraphrasing, you are only summarizing what the victim has said. With reflective listening, you are going beyond summarizing to identify feelings that the person may not have identified, but their words and attitudes point to such feelings. So let's talk about paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is stating back in your own words what you understood the other person to say. The purpose of paraphrasing is to make sure that you have heard and understand what the other person has said and is feeling. Effective paraphrasing helps avoid misunderstandings, and paraphrasing is an effective tool to use before moving on to another subject. So how do you paraphrase? Listen carefully, focusing on key words, phrases, and concepts. Repeat what the speaker has said using your own words without changing the meaning. And paraphrasing often begins with quotes like, "So what I hear you saying is," in other words, what I understand you to say is, and if I hear you correctly. Moving on to affirmations. Affirmations are statements that recognize and validate a person's strengths and acknowledge that the person has been harmed. The purpose of affirmation is to help build the person's confidence in his or her ability to persist. And lastly, we have open-ended questions and closed-ended questions. Open-ended questions are questions that cannot be answered by yes or no. They elicit information and explanations and expand the discussion. Some examples of open-ended questions begin with where, what, how, why, or tell me about it. So, closed-ended questions. Closed-ended questions are questions that can be answered by either yes or no. They are useful to find out a specific piece of information or clarify a specific point of the discussion. Before you ask a question, ask yourself, what information do you need to get? Do not ask questions based on your interest. Ask questions that will help you provide effective services. Ask questions one at a time. Multiple questions can easily confuse or put off the other person. And lastly, there will be a communication self-assessment in the description box down below. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Remember to follow me or subscribe depending on where you're watching this video from. Remember to leave a comment letting me know what you thought about this video and if you learned anything new about communication in this PowerPoint. Remember to stay safe out there, and I'll see you soon.